Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, I am reacting to a bunch of creatures and machines, specifically effects and designs. Uh, Knight of Snake requested this video, and he put together a list of his favorite designs in terms of creatures and robots and so on from various different forms of media, and he wanted me to react to them. So yeah, let's get started, shall we? So the first one that I have here is of a golem. Like, apparently this is not just one golem, because there's more than one golem that he likes the look of, apparently. So this is the first of multiple golems, and this one is from Teen Wolf, I believe. Um, Pretty decent design. I mean, it's done practical. Kind of gives me some Scarecrow vibes of the way that it looks. Like, if you combine Scarecrow with Killer Croc, I definitely don't mind it. I think it looks pretty good. The next one he has is Moloch, who is also from Teen Wolf. Silvery devil character here. It's all right. I personally don't love it, but it looks fine. Looks pretty decent. This one right here is of a kindred zombie from the show Sleepy Hollow. I think it was pretty cool. I think that's definitely some good effects there. Looks pretty, I wouldn't say disturbing, but definitely looks creepy. Definitely is a bit intimidating. Gives me Red Skull vibes, which I think is a pretty good thing to say when it comes to like a skeleton or a skeletal type character. Like, you paint his skull red, and that's a pretty dang good Red Skull mask. The next one he has here is called the Fallen Angel. It's from a show called Hex. This one looks pretty freaky. I would say, yeah, I don't mind it. It reminds me of the monster from a low budget Roger Corman movie called The Terror Within. Like, it almost looks like they repurposed the head from that creature for this design, for the Fallen Angel from Hex. The next one here is the Beast from the show Fringe. I don't mind it. Has this almost mythical look to it. Almost like something you might see be like a spin-off of the creature from the Relic, or something that Lara Croft would be fighting in a Tomb Raider film. Then he has one of the werewolf characters from Underworld Evolution, specifically Michael. I mean, he's not turned at this point, but I definitely would say that Underworld featured some pretty decent effects. This is another one. This is Marcus, who I think is also from Underworld. Here's another. This is a werewolf, a prison werewolf. I think its name is William, also from Underworld. That's a pretty gnarly looking effect. It's a pretty unique looking werewolf, I'll admit. The eyes in particular are really unique. Then you have this elder vampire, which I believe, if I'm looking at his list here, I think the elder vampire is... Yeah, I think this elder vampire is from Van Helsing. Yeah, it's from Van Helsing, the Van Helsing TV show. It looks like something I'd see in Buffy. And that's not a bad thing because Buffy had some pretty good effects, pretty good practical effects and designs. This one right here is Doomsday from Smallville. I, I know it says list, but I think that I honestly think this looks pretty shitty. And maybe it's the bad green screen. I don't know. Like, and also I'm familiar with the way Doomsday looks in the comics, and this just ain't it. I will say that it's a lot better than what Doomsday looked like in Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, but that's not really saying a whole lot. Next one he has here is Blade from the Puppet Master films. Cool. I always didn't mind the look of Blade. Then he has Tunneler. Tunneler's okay. Six Shooter, Torch, the Totem from Puppet Master. I always liked this design. I've always thought the Totem was pretty dang awesome looking and pretty cool design. I'd probably say it's one of my favorite Puppet Master designs is the Totem. I just like the coloring and just how just genuinely striking it looks, and I even like the mask that it's wearing. Sutketh or Sudaketh is the I think it's one of the main villains from one of the movies. He's okay. Doctor Death, another one's just kind of there. Retro Pinhead, Retro Cyclops, Retro Six Shooter, Retro Tunneler, Retro Blade. I never really cared for the retro Puppet Master designs, so that they're just kind of bland and just eh. Mephisto is kind of just there for me as well. There's a shadow creature next, which I believe this is one of many from the show. Shadow Demon from Legacies. A show I've never heard of, to be honest, but I definitely would like to give this show a watch sometime, just for the various different uh, practical effects and creature designs, because that's not too bad looking. And then you have this werewolf from a show called Being Human, from BBC. That's a really nice looking werewolf. I really like that design. It reminds me of something you would see in Dog Soldiers or Bad Moon. This is another puppet master character. This is the homunculus. I mean, it's okay. There's another puppet master thing, Decapitron. Various different forms of the Decapitron. Decapitron's all right. This is Krampus from a Legacies episode. This looks like a generic goblin to me, but it's done practical, and it's not a bad makeup design. This is a gargoyle from the same show. I like this a lot. I like how the makeup effects artist did a good job making it look like he's genuinely made out of stone. Then we have this is Davros from Doctor Who. I would say for the time that was definitely a pretty striking and pretty solid looking effect, and for its age, it actually does hold up fairly well. But I will also admit I'm getting a lot of Star Trek vibes with this design. Of course, we have a Dalek. Can't talk about Doctor Who without the Daleks. The design of the Daleks is I would say compared to other robots, I think it's kind of dull, kind of flat. But there is still something to be said about the Dalek design, especially this redo version that they used for some of the later seasons of the show, that it still works. But it's definitely never been one of my personal favorite robot designs. It just has this kind of it just looks kind of generic to me. Like there's not really a whole lot that makes it stand out other than the fact that it's, you know what it is because of Doctor Who and because of how big of a cult show that series is. So you're aware of Daleks and what they look like, but comparison to other machines or other machines featured in media, it's just, I don't know. It's just kind of like it kind of reminds you of like a dumpy looking droid from Star Wars. It's that kind of vibe. This is some kind of devil character. Yeah, it's Satan. It's apparently not just a devil character. It's literally Satan from the Salem TV show. This is, I don't know what it is about this. I think it's probably the teeth and the look on this face and the fact that it still looks human. This is freaking me out. This is a pretty disturbing, unnerving design here. Especially when it looks all burnt and it's just, yeah, that one, I can see why that pick that as like an effect to mention because it's pretty effective. The next one is Lord Zed from Power Rangers. I mean, that's an iconic design. I mean, come on now, Lord Zed is one of the most iconic, most genuinely memorable designs for a kid's television show. Definitely got Shredder vibes a little bit, but still makes it its own with the whole exposed muscle, and the metal bones and everything, and the brain on top of his head. This is Argus, which I believe is another thing from Legacies. I really like this design. Looks like something straight out of like a Lovecraftian horror with all the eyeballs and everything, and this is really cool. This is honestly my favorite design I've seen so far on this collection of effects images. This is Sharoof, which I believe is also from Legacies as well. Not a bad looking design either. I like it. It's definitely something that pops because of the fire and the whole lava skin and everything. I don't mind that design either. This is a golem from that show Legacies. I think this is just kind of okay. I kind of like the other golem better, to be honest, but this is closer to what a lot of golems more traditionally look like, and this definitely looks more like a clay like makeup than the other one did. But I just kind of like the design of the other one, where it's like, hey, let's take elements of like a scarecrow and combine it with clay. I thought that was a little more interesting and unique. This almost looks like if you blew up one of the monsters, one of the little demons from the gate, and you made it supersized. It almost has this kind of vibe, this kind of look to it. This is the Croatoan, which is also another creature from Legacies. I like this design. Especially speaking of Scarecrow, he totally got some Scarecrow vibes here with the hat and the misshapen face. Honestly, the misshapen face looks like something that you would see in The Burning. Like, it looks like he could be Cropsy's brother. And then you got like his chest looks like some out of the Deadly Spawn. So yeah, I don't mind that design. That's pretty cool. This is the Troll, which is also from Legacies. It's nice to see a troll that actually isn't like short and dumpy and just with a big giant nose and just kind of laughable looking. Like, this looks like this troll could kick your ass. Like, this doesn't look like a troll that just hide under a bridge and pick its nose. It doesn't look like that. I appreciate that. And honestly, it reminds me of Blanca from Street Fighter. Kind of gives me a little bit of that vibe. This is a merman from Legacies. I love this. This is really detailed, really cool looking design. Reminds me of the Gillman effects that Tom Woodruff and Alec Gillis did for the Monster Squad. or something you'd see in Hellboy. So yeah, really like this design. It's a really cool looking bit of practical effect. Some really good makeup effects here. Whoever was responsible for this really did some great work. This is the On Arroyi. I this this looks like the creeper. I mean, like it's got the wings and everything, but like this creeper is in a pedo, so I would say this creeper is better. Um, I like the spikes and everything that's coming out of his head, and how it matches like his teeth, and the green definitely works. I would say what makes it though is definitely the wings. This is the Malagor. This is from Turbo Power Rangers. I'm just kind of indifferent on this. I think it looks okay. I like the other lava monster better than this one from Legacies. Goldar is definitely a fan favorite. I like Goldar. I like his design. Definitely looks a lot better here than he did in the Power Rangers movie from the 2010s. I don't know what the hell they did with Goldar and that. They really butchered him. But yeah, I've always liked Goldar. Definitely has like an Egyptian god sort of vibe to him. So I think that works. This is a Pukwudgie, a creature from Legacies. Kind of looks like it's a cousin of Gwildor from Masters Universe, the live action movie. Does he also really like KFC? But no, that's a pretty decent. I wouldn't say pretty decent. That's a pretty great effect, actually. It's a really good practical effect. The design is kind of Dark Crystal esque, kind of something you've seen before, but just the way that it's executed is really impressive. It actually looks real. So I would definitely want to give the artist credit for that one. This is the Wendigo. Just kind of okay. I think the issue I have with this design is that it looks like its head is too small because of the way that the skull is designed, and it just, I don't know. It just looks like it just doesn't look like it's completely finished. Maybe it's just a photo here that was chosen, and maybe it's the angle. Maybe it looks better in the show, but like the way that it's set up here, it just looks kind of off to me. Okay, this is just a random gremlin from Legacies. This is just. I mean, just look at the design. Like, this is totally trying to be a Mogwai. This is like a knockoff Mogwai. This is like, hey, this is a gremlin. It's not a Mogwai, but it might as well be. It looks like a gremlin who got blended and mixed with a Furby, a very fabulous Furby. that's what this gremlin looks like. This gremlin slays. But yeah, I don't mind it. That's, it's cute and it looks pretty good. Pretty good looking practical effect, but it's definitely they knew what they were doing. Here is the Ferryman, which I think is also from Legacies. I might be wrong though. The Ferryman might be, yeah, he is from Legacies. This is a pretty damn intense looking design. I really like it. Looks like another thing from like a Lovecraftian horror, like an eldritch horror kind of thing. Makes a little bit of like Lord of the Rings. Got a little bit of some Sauron vibes here with the way that its head is designed. But yeah, I'm a fan of it. Looks good. I like that design. Of course, you have a classic, the creature from Black Lagoon, one of my personal favorite creature designs. Always been a huge fan of this. Honestly, creature is my favorite Universal monster. Yeah, this is great design. Still stands the test of time after all these years. This is a illuminated demon from Teen Wolf. Definitely looks like the people who designed this were fans of the movie Demons, because this looks like one of those masks but it's now its own character. Um, don't mind it. Looks cool. Um, this is a abomination. Uh, I don't think it's abomination at all. I think it looks really nice. I think it's a good looking effect. It's like a snake like creature. I always like those kind of creatures. I always felt we didn't really get enough like snake men or you know, were snake kind of characters other than like the movie with Dirk Benedict. So it's cool to see this kind of stuff, especially when it's done well like this. Um, this is the Alpha, which is from Teen Wolf. Love this. This looks like something out of Fright Night. This is a really good looking effect. The red eyes definitely looks like an alpha wolf. Here is Alex Stevens' werewolf from Dark Shadows. I think that's just kind of there. It looks very typical when it comes to like werewolf effects from like around the same time period. But it's fine, I guess, for the time and for what it is. Of course, you have King Kong, the original King Kong, though. I like that design. It's classic. It's definitely something that's iconic for a reason. I'm a little more partial though towards the design of Kong in the 1976 film. That's my personal favorite design of Kong. My personal favorite Kong. I would say I would actually admit that the 1933 King Kong is my favorite King Kong film. Um, but when it comes to like design of Kong, like my favorite design of Kong is 76 Kong. And honestly, after that, it'd probably be the new Kong from MonsterVerse, then this Kong. But that's just me personally. But it's still a good design. It's still iconic. Speaking of iconic monsters, here we have Godzilla. I've always liked the Big G. Always liked his design. Yeah, it's a big lizard, but the way that they did it, like it works. It really does. I would say though the original Godzilla is not really one of my favorite designs of Godzilla. I prefer like the Godzilla design from like GMK, Godzilla 2000, that kind of era of practical suit Godzilla, but that's just me personally. Here we have some Cantina aliens for Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars, the Cantina scene. I mean, there's so many great, cool creature effects and masks and just all kinds of fun stuff in that sequence. Rick Baker actually worked on some of these. One of his first ever jobs that he did on a movie was doing the Cantina alien stuff for Star Wars. Speed of Star Wars, we got Darth Maul. Simple but really effective design, and just striking with the eyes and just the face paint and then the horns. I've always felt Darth Maul was a really well designed, simple but very effective makeup effect. We have a sandworm from Dune, specifically the 1984 Dune. Yeah, I've always liked the design of the sandworms in David Lynch's Dune. Uh, the folks who worked on the effects there, I think Carlo Lombardi was the one who was working on the sandworm. Did a good job with that. Here we have some more Star Wars aliens, specifically Max Rebo and his band. I mean, I think Max Rebo's band members are fine, but they're not some of my favorite makeup designs or creature designs. But I don't mind them. I think a lot of it really has to do with how a good chunk of them were like CGI in the special edition, which I'm not a big fan of, especially the one that's like the lead singer. I don't really care for the design of that creature. But I like Max Rebo, even though he's basically just a blue elephant. Uh, Speaking of Star Wars, yet again, Yoda. I mean, Yoda is a legendary design by Frank Oz and the Muppet folks, like the people who created the Muppets. They created Yoda, and it's just a design that to this day just still uh, um, works. I think really what it has to do is because of just how well the face is sculpted. Like you can really see some humanity there, even though he's like a puppet, he's a creature, but it does a good job having like a face that still looks somewhat human and now allows for more human expression. So I think that's really one of the main things that makes Yoda such a memorable um, creature and a memorable effect. This one is another Teen Wolf effect. This is a Nook. Definitely getting some more Red Skull vibes here, but it's still more unique because it's very bony, and then you got like purple glowing eyes. Um, yeah, that's that's pretty uh pretty pretty good. I would say I like the other like design of like the Kindred Zombie better, but this is still not that bad. Here's another Teen Wolf creature, the Ghost Rider. It's just kind of meh to me. Like, there's not much of an effect. It's really just a old timey Western outfit, and like it looks like some CGI. So, but that's just me personally. Like, I'm not super enamored with this design compared to some other stuff I've seen with T Wolf. Like, for example, the Berserker. Like, this is really cool looking with the skull mask and the exposed bones and like the armor. I like that a lot, actually. I think that's really cool. Then we have the first of many Godzilla creatures. So you have King Ghidorah, of course. I mean, that's that's a really good pick. I've always liked the design of King Ghidorah, especially the. I would say this is definitely my personal favorite, the more golden one compared to some of the other designs. I've always liked the golden uh, King Ghidorah. The giant claw creature, teach their own. This is one of your favorites. That's cool. I always says this looks pretty fucking doofy, pretty silly, pretty bad, but that's just me. Rodan though, great. I've always liked Rodan. Rodan is awesome. Cool design. This is Anguirus. Anguirus is. I'm not angry at Anguirus, but Anguirus isn't one of my personal favorites. Is it just me, or does he like give off Bowser vibes? If he was spikier. This is Shodai Kama. It's like a praying mantis, but not. That's kind of this is like part spider, part praying mantis. It's okay. Manira, I never cared for this design. I don't like this design. I don't like Son of Godzilla, so I don't did that doesn't do anything for me. I don't even know if this was the Son of Godzilla creature, but I never liked this. I don't care for it. Ibira, I like Ibira. Is basically just a giant shellfish, but it's done really well. The sea monster. Mothra, she's marvelous. I mean, what you can say? I mean, look at her. She's magnificent. Kumanga, the other just kind of looks like a spider. Just it's fine, I guess, but one of the more forgettable Godzilla creatures for me. Mechagodzilla, classic. You can tell where the Power Rangers got their inspiration from for like their Megazords. It's from Mechagodzilla. Like, think about it. The Megazords are. It's totally Mechagodzilla, especially Tommy's green dinosaur Zord. Like, it's totally Mechagodzilla. Biolante, love Biolante. I've always thought that Biolante was such a unique and cool and just visually stunning creature, some great effects, and I always loved the idea of Biolante, and I think honestly Godzilla versus Biolante is one of the more underrated Godzilla films, period. And Biolante is also one of the more underrated Godzilla foes. So it's nice to see Biolante get some praise here. Also, I love that poster. I would say Godzilla versus Biolante uh, is one of my favorite Godzilla posters. Might be my favorite Godzilla. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't say Godzilla. I'm just thinking about that poster, and it's just making me uh, unable to speak straight because I just love that poster so much. But yeah, that poster for Godzilla versus Biolante is pretty badass. If I were gonna have a Godzilla poster, I would love to have that one. Here's Batra. Batra is fine. No Mothra, but Batra still looks pretty cool, especially the wings. Uh, this is the Batra larva. I prefer Batra when Batra is fully formed, but the larva is fine. The Titanosaurus just looks like a punk. He looks like the guy, the punker in Star Trek 4 who got knocked out by Spock because he was playing his music too loud. That's what the Titanosaurus reminds me of. It's just this kind of dumb looking mohawk, but that's just me personally. King Caesar, another one I'm not super big on. Like, what is this? Half dog, half lion. It's kind of a weird mismatch of different things. Hedorah, big fan of Smog Monster. Like Hedorah, cool design, fun film. One of my favorite Godzilla movies is Godzilla versus Hedorah. Jet Jaguar, another thing that totally, I mean, especially something like Superhuman Cyber Samurai Squad, like they totally ripped off Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar is cool. Megalon, yeah, I don't mind Megalon, especially the drill hands. But I prefer Gigan. Like I've Gigan. I always thought looked more striking with his red visor and the wings. Yeah, Space Godzilla. I I don't think this is Space Godzilla. This is just like one of these other robot sort of things. I forgot it. What is that? It just says like a Godzilla versus Space Godzilla screenshot. I think it's just like another robot kaiju or something. Not a bad design. Still no Mecha Godzilla. This is Space Godzilla. I really like Space Godzilla. I've always liked this design, Space Godzilla. I think Space Godzilla is really cool. Space Godzilla is badass. I mean, look at that. He definitely looks like a boss. He actually looks like a monster that could potentially take Godzilla. He legitimately does. I mean, look at those fucking thighs, man. Jesus Christ. Megaguirus. Another design I really like. I like this design. This whole color scheme is so Fly 2. Like this creature looks like it could be a version of the Martin Fly from the Fly 2. It legitimately does. I mean, it has the same color scheme and everything, similar design with the spikes and even with the eyes. I would be shocked if they were somewhat inspired by the Fly 2. But I'm not entirely sure whether or not the Fly 2 came first or not, because it's been a while since I've seen this one. But it definitely has Fly 2 Martin Fly vibes for sure. Little Godzilla, I don't like this chibi Godzilla thing. That's just me with this just stupid looking eyes, and it looks like it has like a high pitched voice. But like Baby Godzilla. What is he gonna hang out with the Muppet Babies next? What is this shit? Gabara, this is kind of there for me. I mean, not super big on that design. It's like for some reason it looks like a animal, like a cat for the head, but then it's got a lizard body that looks like it has pimples everywhere. Like not a huge fan. Ogra, I think that's who it is. Like this is a really cool design. I've always liked the design for this creature. This one definitely is one that I don't think gets mentioned nearly enough. I think it's a really cool uh, design. Look, almost you can almost see in the head a little bit of the '98 Godzilla. You could see a little bit of that, or something along the lines of something that you would see, like maybe like, oh, if H.R. Giger designed a Godzilla monster. That's kind of what you're getting here. Kind of some xenomorph sort of skin and bones and stuff, and I like it. It's cool. I also like Destroya. I think Destroya is awesome. Destroya is another Godzilla monster. I think it's very underrated. I mean, just look at this. It's badass. I mean, with the wings and just the red color scheme and everything. Destroy is awesome. Gamera, cool. I prefer the design of the Gamera when it comes to the reboot series more than the original design, but Gamera is still a pretty cool looking turtle. Probably the coolest turtle that isn't a Ninja Turtle that exists. Because it sure as hell isn't Franklin. Mecha Kong. Mecha Kong's okay. It's no Mecha Godzilla, but it's fine. Honestly, the vibe I get when I look at Mecha Kong is if Donkey Kong had like a... If you had like a special thing that you could unlock in a Donkey Kong Country game where you beat a level or you collect a certain amount of tokens or trophies, and then you get this suit, a robot suit, as a reward, and you get to be Mecha Donkey Kong. Like that's the whole look and the whole vibe I get from Mecha Kong. Then we have Veron. Veron's all right. I think what makes Veron stand out is the fact that it's very lizard-like, but then has like flying squirrel DNA. So that's definitely something different. But a lot of it's just very... It's like Godzilla, the classic Godzilla design, but with more spikes and he can fly, and he's a different color. Manda, I mean, it looks like something that you would, I don't know, see during Chinese New Year. Like, it's not really that unique or that cool of design to me, but it's fine. It's not bad, but it's definitely someone I would personally put on one of my favorites when it comes to like creature effects. Baragon, not bad looking, pretty decent. Gorosaurus, I don't know if it's just the look on his face. He just looks depressed. Maybe that's why I'm kind of like, man, like he looks like he hates life. He hates life and he hates everyone. That's the whole vibe that I get from Gorosaurus. And I'm like, man, you know, there are days where I feel like I'm Gorosaurus. I gotta be honest. Of course, you have Robocane. Love it. Fucking classic. Phil Tippett's work on this is legendary. Just Robocane is one of the most badass, cool robot designs in all of cinema. Just love it. Just looks sleek and industrial at the same time. You know, looks very stripped down. It's just a really unique, cool looking design. I've always loved the look of Robocane. And of course, you got Ed, the Ed 209. I mean, another iconic, great design for RoboCop. You have 30 seconds to comply. Didn't love it when Nico made Ed loyal as a puppy in RoboCop 3, but I mean, I did love the Ed 209 in RoboCop, the original. And you know, despite how it's being painted as just a joke in that film, it packed a serious punch. Like, destroyed Kenny, turned him into a bunch of hamburger meat, and really gave Robo a run for his money. Like, really fucked Robo up. And then we have the Fly from Return of the Fly. Not a bad design. I personally prefer the design from the first Fly myself than the big head Fly design for Return of the Fly. but it's still not too bad. Definitely a lot better than whatever the hell they were trying to do in Curse of the Fly, which is like, hey, it's a fly film, but nobody looks like a fly anymore. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking with that. This is an Ice Warrior from Doctor Who. Looks like something that I don't know. I'd find in like the bargain bin somewhere. Like for it's okay, but like I don't know. I guess I'm looking at when I look at this, I'm like, this is something that Doctor Who battled at some point. This looks like something that Rom Space Knight would fight in the comics, or you'd see the GoBots battle on Saturday morning. Like that. That's what this looks like. The Cyberman though is cool. I've always liked the Cyberman design. Simple but efficient. And honestly, you can definitely tell that other comics, especially like Iron Man in particular, definitely borrowed some design aspects from Cyberman. I mean, you totally could see it. There's a lot of like Iron Man elements in it. But yeah, uh, that's it. That's the list of creature and machine effects and designs for Night of Snake. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. And as always, until next time, I'll see you later.